Hi guys, welcome back to the rematch game between Deadpan and Smiga. We're here on none other than Tutorberg Forest. So a very interesting map layout. The trees always spawn in a pattern like this. It's not always exactly this particular depth of trees all the way on. It is still randomly seeded like any other map. And same with the resource spawns, they all actually vary. Your hunts can be at different spots. Sometimes it can be here, sometimes it can be sort of here. Sometimes you can have one here or here. And the golds, you know, and stone, berries, they all differ a little bit. So, yeah, we're here on Tutorberg. We've got Deadpan as Persia, we've got Smiga as India. Smiga going for that early barracks. Deadpan probably going for a follow-up barracks here, I'd say. So his will be slightly delayed relative to Smiga, India player. A little unlucky to not find those sheep and steal them. Actually, he will. So I'll give him a little bit of gold trickle, which will be what he needs, just to minimize how many workers he has on the gold. Deadpan though, the barracks a little bit slow here, but he can take aid tent and loom and be in a very nice defensive position. He probably doesn't want to be forced off the forced onto berries here. It's interesting to see him not yet take the aid tent upgrade, because it could really make it easy for him to stick around on these fights. This is only just outside of TC range as well. In fact, I think this deer actually is inside it. So he's going to take aid tent. So he doesn't want to lose this storehouse. I don't know if Smiga's got enough to take it down terribly quickly though. There are a couple of Spara here in the mix. Deadpan is going to want to repair this. Smiga might actually... oh no, he's going to pull off it. So the upgrade is going to finish. It's a rough fight here for Deadpan. He's at a bit of a disadvantage. He had that slower barracks because he went for the second storehouse before the barracks. So Smiga's held a spear advantage this whole time, but now there is healing in the mix for Deadpan, so that's going to help offset that a little bit. But Deadpan's housed at the moment, so he's not actually training anything. He is making a house. He has lost a unit. There we go. He's starting to train some more. But it's been a good fight so far for Smiga. Not getting pop capped. He has put a lot of pressure on, forced Deadpan onto the berries and to take Picker's Gloves and Aid Tent at this stage. Still has a bit of a numbers advantage. So if he can take out this storehouse, particularly because it is getting Picker's Gloves at the moment, if he can take it out now, it's actually a big blow to Deadpan. So he wants to take this out ASAP, because Deadpan's then got to restart the upgrade, and, you know, it's going to delay it by like another 25 seconds. Well, I mean, it delays it by 30, but what it means is it costs Deadpan an extra 25 seconds, because that was at 25 when he took it out. So Deadpan floating a huge amount of wood at the moment, struggling a little bit for food. Pop capped once again. Smiga going to age 2 at a clean pop amount. He's not been pop capped at all, so he's leading by 8 in that regard. He's got 20 villagers to 18 and 10 army to 7, so it's definitely a much better position to be in. But the fight's not over yet for Deadpan. He can always just make sure, like if he goes to second TC here, he can cut through this pretty quickly and then get onto those berries. Or if he goes out this side, makes it a bit easier to secure this hunt again and get on top of this hunt gold. You know, Smiga is a very good player, but no one's perfect. And you might be able to Get out from under their watchful eye. Speaking of which, Smiga's scouts here. Keeping an eye on things here. Oh, okay. Putting this here really prevents this gold mine from being towered up, so good idea there from Deadpan putting it that side. Smiga's just going to put his in the middle of the map. Doesn't inherently secure any resources, but it makes it very hard for Deadpan to actually peel off to either of these sides and gather these resources without having to chop through here. Or through here-ish. That's probably the quickest part. So stables for Smiga. Deadpan, no other, oh, he is getting a range, but he's not currently producing units because he is housed, so that's not ideal for him. Pickaxe for Smiga, pickaxe for Deadpan. They're both looking to make use of good eco-techs here. Both already got handsaw. Smiga's got hunting dogs. Deadpan hasn't got any upgrades for food eco yet. Obviously, probably doesn't want to get hunting dogs too early here unless he's sure he can get over onto this one on the left. Might even be a good idea to wall this segment. Walling here would be better, but obviously Smiga's locked that down with the town centre. So he is actually going to go for hunting dogs because he was pushed off this relatively early, and there is this second hunt over here. There is another one, and there'll be more over this side somewhere. Probably there. So Smiga's going for it. He does have those Garter warriors, and there's not a big number of bowmen just yet, so Deadpan going to lose a couple of units for free. A little bit careless, he probably should have just backed out straight away. And floating a little bit of gold at the moment, actually. He doesn't need to be gathering so many gatherers, because unless he's making spears, right now his units aren't very gold hungry. It's not till he gets Asabara or spears in big numbers that Persia's Age 2 army is particularly gold hungry. Like, Spara costs basically nothing, Bowman costs 20, and it's really only the Bowman train quickly that you actually really notice it, because it takes them 9 seconds, whereas what Spara, I think 12 or 11 with the upgrade. Quick Age 3 from Deadpan here. Is he going to go for Immortals? He's managed to spend all that gold, actually. I was criticising him for it, but going for Age 3 and Spara Champ, that's 500 gold there, so it makes sense. He's making good use of those upgrades. But he hasn't shifted onto this third hunt yet. He has gone hunting dogs, so I wonder if he would probably better off with just getting Picker's Gloves here. Because there is still a little bit of food left here, relative to what's left on this other hunt. And this hunt now, for the moment, is out of the question, because Smiga's just got so much here. Deadpan banking a fair bit of wood, so I wonder if he's going to go for 2 Immortal Camps and the Age 3 Town Centre. Although he's got to be really smart about where he puts this Age 3 TC, because he needs to secure food with it. Gold's probably not such a problem for the moment, because he can eventually head back over here or chop through to this side. Smiga's pinching this hunt, so that's a good idea if he takes this hunt, this berries. Deadpan can't just cut through and get them himself. So Smiga pulling ahead on population, 42 to 35 for economy, much bigger army actually for Smiga as well. Yeah, so double Immortal Camp, Age 3 TC. Deadpan's going to hope he can get a little bit of food, well, enough wood to actually get some farms out here. And he really needs to start getting a longer term economy going. Smiga's going for a bit of a push here, because if you can get in and interrupt the Immortal Camps, it's really tough for Deadpan to actually defend this. In fact, that first Immortal Camp does get finished. The second, I think it will get finished, but a couple of villages will fall because of it. 38 vills to 48 now. So you can start double pumping Immortals, and as long as the TCs are focusing down the Bowmen, they actually should be able to win fights really easily against Spears and Garter Warriors. Taranga, it's a bit of a mixed bag, I think. Can really go either way. So Smiga does delay things a little bit there, but ultimately Deadpan gets out of that for the cost of a couple of villages. But he's not double producing vills at the moment. He's only producing out of 1 TC, which is not great, but he's not got a huge food income for the moment. He really needs to throw down a bunch of farms and yeah, maybe even make a lot of bowmen just to help him push out here. Force Smiga to have to play around a lot of Taranga and then, you know, switch back to making spears. Well, he is going to be able to secure this hunt, so this is going to be what he needs to make it out of this without having to basically hard transition to farms at the moment, which is not the position you want to be in when you're already trailing on army size, having to forego a hell of a lot of wood that you could be putting into more production buildings or armories at this stage of the game. Oh, and this will be nice for Smiga. He can interrupt this workshop, he can drop the food eco as well, but there is a little bit in the bank there for Deadpan. He's not been mass producing immortals perhaps as much as he could have. Still getting some bowmen in that bowman champion upgrade. And he is pop capped at the moment. Smiga's done a better job of not getting housed while he's been having these fights. He's macroing really well this game. Deadpan, under the pressure, seems to be struggling a little bit with it, but I think that's partly because he's had to shift across so many resources. Being pushed off his early hunt and then being a little bit food starved, having to try and take a very defensive triple town center position here. It's not been a comfortable early game for him, so it's understandable he's not necessarily macroing as well as his opponent. It's a lot easier to just sort of sink in good macro with small but strategic aggression. A lot of eco-techs kicking in for Deadpan. Actually, he's finally getting Picker's Gloves, but is he even on a berries at the moment? I don't think he is, so I think Picker's Gloves is an upgrade he could have afforded not to go with at this stage. There was definitely a time when he did need it earlier and he didn't have it, so I think there's no point in really overcompensating for it now, unless he gets lucky with the berries being back here. But I think it's going to be a hunt and a gold mine. I don't know for sure until someone sees, but 9 out of 10 times it's a hunt and a gold mine here. And I think a stone on this side? And yeah, stone and hunt over here. Well, berries and gold or something over here. I mean, it does vary very slightly from game to game, because it's basically just space roughly this size or whatever. Okay, we're going to slam down some resources here. But Deadpan's putting together a bit of a force. He is still trailing on population overall, and well, economically he's in the lead at the moment. Smiga's sort of cut eco at 59 right now. It's not uncommon for players to do this, so build a bit of a lead early on, and then basically cut eco because they know they're going to get to a max population of 160 or 180 faster. And you know, it sort of means that while their opponent's catching up on eco size, you know, you pull further and further ahead on army, and then all of a sudden you're at 180 pop, they're at 150. You've got the same eco size, so now you've just got 30 more army, and you can violently degrade your opponent. So a fortress coming up here. Smiga's not in age 4, so he can't just chuck a Polintodon out of this. But once he does get to age 4, this is a very tricky situation to be in, because he can just get siege out of this and have it lob stuff straight into the heart of Deadpan's base. And then it's hard to deal with because you've either got to chop through directly underneath it, or come around here, fight the army head on to deal with it, or go for age 4, put a fortress down defensively yourself. So Smiga starting to tighten the screws on Deadpan here. Deadpan going to have to try his luck at a fight, but I think he's probably best off making sure he fights at 180 pop as well, because he is going to move in, but while Smiga's got a bigger army and the Rams can't get to the front of the fight just yet, which they're going to want to tank some damage or to actually put some pressure on that town center. Deadpan moving out here, but I think he was probably best off waiting for 180 population there. He moved in at 160 and then added up the houses behind it. which is probably a bit of a mistake because Smiga did have 20 more army. Well, 30 more army if you think about it, because again, Smiga cut Eco at 60 while Deadpan got up to 70. So when you're fighting with that much of an army disadvantage, you just deal so much less damage that the effect snowballs. You're bleeding units slower than your opponent, and you've already got more there. It was a really rough fight for Deadpan. Yeah, GG. Yeah, it was a really tough fight there for Deadpan heading in like that because, like I said, he's down 30 army pop, and then the effect basically snowballs. Like he kills what, 20 of Smiga's units, while Smiga kills 50 of his. So yeah, the game really snowballed Smiga's way after Deadpan made that push there.